Hi, welcome to the Tech Show. I'm your host Nick, and together we'll be discussing technology and how we can use technology to empower ourselves. So I'll be covering the latest tech news around South Africa and around the globe. And feel free to engage with me by commenting, sharing your thoughts on social media and on the websites, and I'll make sure to read your comments. So let's get right into it. The first thing I want us to discuss today is the apparent high data prices in the country, which has become a controversial issue. So a lot of people are saying data prices are expensive in the country. What's going on? So this will be based on an article I published on my website, Nick Inspires. So if you go to the blog section, you will see the article. And the question that I try to answer is data really expensive in South Africa? If it is, why is it expensive? And what can we do about it? So let's get right into it. Okay, so while doing research, I bumped into quite a few articles online about data prices and expensive data prices, not just in South Africa, but around the world. And the one that was trending in South Africa was an article published by News24 based on a study done by a company called Terrific, which showed that South Africans are paying more for mobile data than their BRICS counterparts countries like India. The study also incorporated the cost of living index, because 100 Rand in South Africa may not necessarily have the same value as in India, which was interesting. However, I was very skeptical about the report because simply the company that did the study, Terrific, also happens to be a company that offers cheaper data packages. So it seemed convenient for them to do a study or a report exposing how mobile networks are so expensive in the country, and then to sort of persuade people to go to their cheaper data packages. So I'm very skeptical. I was like, a little bit dodgy. Anyways, the question what we're trying to answer today is data really expensive in South Africa? And I found that, data prices, especially mobile data, is expensive all over the world. And I can assure you that South Africa doesn't have the most expensive data prices in the country. So the reason why, and most people ask that, why is data so expensive? And this is the number one reason why. It's because of the expensive ITC infrastructures mobile networks have to put in place in order to provide mobile services to us in South Africa. That is the number one reason. The expensive infrastructure mobile networks have to put in place. All right. And I would argue that most people that say data is expensive, most of them are Vodacom users. Most of the time it's just Vodacom users. They just say data is expensive, etc. And you would ask yourself that if data is so expensive with Vodacom, why aren't they using cheaper mobile networks like Cell C, Telkom? Because it just makes sense. If data is expensive with Vodacom, just jump the ship. You know what I mean? So that is also puzzling. Why are people using Vodacom still? And the reason is that Vodacom has invested a lot in their infrastructure to provide coverage throughout the whole country, not just some parts of the country, but throughout the whole country, and to also offer world-class services like LTE, 4G, 3G. And for that, customers are willing to pay a premium, and this is supported by a study. I also included the study done by Research ITC Africa, which supports the argument that South Africans are willing to pay a premium for coverage, to have coverage. Like when you are in deep vendor, when you make a call, you want to have good reception, so customers and South Africans are willing to pay a premium just for that. And also for faster broadband or quality broadband like LTE, 4G and 3G, people are willing to pay a premium for that. So that's some of the reasons why. And it's proven. I'm not just making this thing up, because Vodacom is still the leading network, mobile network in the country. It has large majority of users because people are willing to pay a premium for that, because they've made a large investment in that, and they are fairly it's fair. It's only fair that they reap the rewards, So now what? And then the next question that I address is, now what? Data is expensive. What can we do about it? Well, good news is that data prices are falling, believe it or not. This is largely because of government, and also because of more internet service providers coming through to provide cheaper data packages, etc., and the cost of living also improving. So there's a lot of factors why data prices falling, but largely it's because of government, and also mobile networks are starting to offer new bundles. They may not necessarily decrease the price of the data, but they offer very competitive data packages. We've seen with Vodacom Make Your Day, we've seen with Cell C, they have a lot of data packages, Telkom as well. So data prices are not necessarily falling in the conventional sense, but certainly people are making it easy to access mobile services and apps. Say, for example, Facebook, YouTube. There's a lot of great bundles for that. And then, I also discuss a few things like how you can save data, and what you can do about the expensive data in the country. So I have how many? 3 tips. Yeah, if you can call them that. 3 tips. The first one is get an ADSL line. This is the first one. You won't go wrong with that. If you want to save data, especially if you're at home, because when you're at work, you can use the company Wi-Fi. If you're on campus or studying, you can use the school Wi-Fi. But when you're at home, and that's where you use your data mostly, you want to get an ADSL line. You want to be able to get yourself an ADSL line. So not just Telkom, because when we talk about ADSL, most people think, I need to get a line from Telkom. Yes, you need to get a line, but after that, you can use other service providers like Web Africa, AfriHost, that can offer competitive prices. So you'll end up paying 200 Rand for 10 gigs of data. That's not bad. So get an ADSL line. Then the second option, if you can't get an ADSL line and you have to really rely on a mobile network, I'd suggest you get bundles. All right, not prepaid. Don't buy data on prepaid. No, don't buy data on prepaid, because that is just expensive. So you want to be able to get yourself a 24-month contract with MTN, Vodacom, Cell C, Telkom, whatever you choose, whatever mobile network is that you're using, and get data bundles. It will always be cheaper than just having just buying prepaid. Say, for example, 100 megabytes of data in Vodacom is 29 Rand, which is really expensive. So get yourself bundles. And one of the things I thought I'd share with you is that I grew up in the township, and there was a crazy phenomenon. Actually, it's very funny. So people that used to smoke cigarettes, they would buy cigarettes one by one. They wouldn't buy a 20-pack. So someone would buy a cigarette every single day, which was more expensive, because a cigarette packet in those days was 250. So at the end of the month, someone would have smoked 30 cigarettes, etc. But they would never ever buy a 20-pack, which is actually cost effective. So they had that syndrome. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is that most people, and myself included, used to have that syndrome. You buy 100 megabytes of data during the month, the course of the month, and you'd never buy a 1 gigabyte data bundle at the beginning of the month. So what people do is that during the month, they just buy 100 megabyte data. When it finishes, you buy another one. When it finishes, you buy another one, instead of buying 1 gigabyte of data bundle at the beginning of the month. So don't fall for that. Make sure you get your bundles. Then the last thing is reduce and save. Reduce and save. You've heard it a lot. There's a lot of apps that you can use to save data on your phone. So I'd say use that. But most importantly, also just some tips on using your data wisely. If you're streaming music, for example, or videos on YouTube, rather save those videos over Wi-Fi network. And then when you're at home, when you're free, you can watch them. For example, if you have iTunes or Google Play Store or Deezer, any other music app, what you can do is that when you have Wi-Fi, you can just download the music, and then when you are free and you want to listen to the music, you can just listen to it offline rather than streaming the music every single time. So those are the 3 tips you can use to save data. Thanks for watching. This is The Tech Show with Nick. Bang, bang, bang.